Hey, I'd like to welcome you to the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for everything business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my Instagram, to keep up with my book releases, all that good stuff. And as always, if you'd like to apply to be a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Bob London on the line, and he's the owner over at Bob London Photography. Bob, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here.
So I'm excited about today's topic. I mean, you've been in business, over 20 years as a business owner, and there's some younger entrepreneurs or some other entrepreneurs listening that are maybe in the creative field or other fields, and you have the benefit of hindsight working on your side. So in business over 20 years as a freelancer and with your company, no small feat. So I want to get into that and what you've learned. But before we do, I do want to get more into what you're doing at Bob London Photography. So first, let's start off with tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Yeah, well, we're more at a high-end commercial, doing advertising stuff and editorial for magazines, like when there was magazines. So then we also have another brand where we do, shoot off over into higher-end and destination weddings. That's over at the Robert London brand. So it's kind of an exciting field. It's changed quite a bit as I've gone through this, and either you evolve or you're a dinosaur. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about.
What's interesting to you right now in photography? And because something that you said is very relevant, which is magazines. They kind of changed their models. It's left some of the really high end photography like yourself. It's left them with going more towards digital or other things. What's interesting to you right now in the photography space in terms of the business side of things?
Well, what I would say what's interesting is that you used to have like so much stuff, so much space, big studios, all this big lighting equipment just to like do a small job. And now, Ben, you can do stuff. I mean, you see some of those GoPro images. I mean, it's just amazing. Drones. I mean, back in the day, that would be a $50,000 shoot to do what a $100 drone can do today. So, and that stuff's just so readily available. I just took my phone down to Mexico City. We were on vacation there last year, and I stole a few stock shots, and I didn't have to lug around my big Nikon all day. So it's all good, and some's bad because everyone's a photographer now, but that's okay.
No, everybody's not a photographer. Everybody can push the button. Let's be clear. No, I respect the work of photography and your eye and what you've gained over 20 years. Just because I bought a new iPhone that has a nice little thing and I watched a YouTube video does not mean that I can do what you do. So, sorry, I got to correct you on that one, Bob.
Yeah, that's true.
So that being said, I do want to get into a little bit of the business side of things. So as I mentioned, there's some younger entrepreneurs or some people that are out there just starting their first business, and they're kind of they're listening to this because they want to learn from others that have been in business for a long time and get some tips. So what kind of advice would you share for that new entrepreneur that's really just getting started out there?
Well, there's a lot of stuff that, man, they just don't. I have a business degree too, associates, and I just kind of I was kind of just naturally good at accounting. I'm just one of those weirdos. And so it's just always kind of interested me in this side, and I just kind of get it. And I just feel like my daughter just graduated from as a dance major, and she's filing her taxes. And, I did it, Dad, Intuit. Everyone just told me to do Intuit. And I was like, okay, fine. We were going to do this together. But, okay, so let me ask you something. Did you write off your student loan interest? What do you mean, Dad? See, there you go. That's lost money. So things that they should, everyone who's a freelancer, you're running a business, whether you like it or not. So taxes, when you add up all your federal, state, and local taxes, it's, plus or minus, depending on the person's in charge for that year, it's like 30% of your income. So every $100 you make, if you don't write it off, you're giving $30 to the government for no reason. That adds up when you're starting out.
Oh yeah, no, and we never want to pay our not so silent partner more than we have to, right?
That's right.
It's common sense there, and it does. It's one of those things that I think managing your workflow is important, because I think business owners, especially when they just get started, they're focused on revenue, and they're not thinking necessarily, which they should be, by the way, but they don't think about some of those other points, like you're mentioning. So making sure that some of the nuances are done to make sure they're keeping more of the money that they're bringing in. So that being said, let's say that they get they get a bookkeeper, they get somebody on their team that knows how to do these things, and they have that tightened up. What would be the next piece of advice you'd give? So now let's assume that they're listening to this and they're like, all right, Bob's been in business 20 years. I get it. I'm going to do that. Now what's the next thing that you think they should be looking at?
Okay, bookkeeper, a good accountant are actually what you need to do. But I always tell people, accountant, he doesn't know your business. Like, he can give you some general advice, but he's only going to do the best he can with the information that you give him. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm really kind of like little things like, reimbursements. Let's say you're a consultant and they reimburse you for your $100 lunch every day. That'd be a nice kind of job to have. But then if you don't deduct that portion of that $100 they give you, they're going to send you a 1099 that says they gave you a salary of $100, which means that lunch just cost you $30 because you followed the paperwork wrong. Their accountant would never know that unless you told them. You just handed them a 1099. That would, little things like that, $30 a day for a few month gig. That adds up.
Oh, that does add up. So industry specific, possibly. Like, think about working with people that know your industry also. I mean, that obviously makes sense. So let's just say that let's switch it up a bit. So you've obviously been in business for quite some time. So what about on the sales side of things? Any tips there that you've kind of picked up, or tricks over the years of how you keep your clients?
Well, I mean, I've heard it on the show before. It's all about who you know and networking. I mean, that is a big part of it. And you got to be out there, as Woody Allen says. 90% of success is showing up, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're not constantly knocking on people's doors, going to events, even going to training sessions, you meet people, you talk. Oh, I know this guy. Listen. I'm in New York City. There was a lot of talented people in the city, and I would like to pat myself on the back more, but every job I've gotten, there's 100 people I know in the city who could do it. So why are they hiring me, right, and not that other guy? Sometimes it's just because I'm a nice guy, and I get to, and always get your job on time. I mean that. I don't know how many people that they refuse to hire an extra person because they want to save some money. Job gets late. You know what? Clients hate that, and then they don't get the next job. So, it was a penny saving and dollar foolish. I think it's the phrase, something like that.
I'll buy it. I will buy it. Number one. So Bob, if somebody is listening to this and they want more information on Bob London photography, or to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, my handle is rlondonphoto, just like the city, and of course there are my websites, boblondon.com and robertlondon.com.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Bob, appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and giving our new entrepreneurs, and even the ones that are a little bit more seasoned, some way to reframe the way they think about their money, really, is what it comes down to. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, leave us some comments. Love to hear from you there and keep the conversation going. And Bob, thanks again for coming on the show.
All right. Have a good day, Adam.